This is an abuse of the public trust. We have encountered real challenges with cooperation with this office.
The latest report by Chicago's Inspector General found several infractions, including city employees drinking on the job and falsifying work hours.
Many of the employees' supervisors and colleagues were aware of the drinking, she writes, but did nothing about it. How do you react to that?
It's not true.
Can you expound on that?
I don't have to, quite frankly.
Brandon Johnson continues to be in trouble. Chicago's own Inspector General, the watchdog Johnson has been fighting for years, just dropped her final quarterly report on the way out the door. And it's ugly. City workers drinking at bars on the clock, Chicago cops committing federal fraud, a $9.6 million kickback scheme running through the mayor's office. 5 scandals in one report, all of this happening under Brandon Johnson's watch. Let's get into it. What's going on, Hannibal here? And today we're gonna be walking through this bombshell final report from the outgoing Inspector General because the Johnson administration is completely cooked.
Supervisors, foremen, and custodial workers at O'Hare that she says drank beer, cocktails, and shots of liquor before returning to O'Hare to complete their shifts. Many of the employees' supervisors and colleagues were aware of the drinking, she writes, but did nothing about it.
This is an abuse of the public trust. It's a misuse of taxpayer dollars, and we have people not doing the jobs that the taxpayers are paying them to do.
So let me get this straight. You are an employee of the Chicago Department of Aviation. You work at the O'Hare International Airport, one of the busiest airports on the planet. You punch in, you're on the clock, taxpayers are paying you, and you walk to the bar, you're ordering beers, cocktails, shots of liquor, then you walk back to the airport to finish your shift drunk, running heavy equipment, handling bags, supervising other workers at the airport. And this wasn't just one guy. This was 14 city workers across 3 different departments: aviation, transportation, and water management. Supervisors were buying drinks for their workers. Foremen were getting hammered with their crews. Some of these people were actually hitting the gym on city time. And here's the part that makes this a Brandon Johnson story, not a few bad apples story. The Inspector General says that these supervisors knew about it. Colleagues knew, but nobody reported. For how long? We have no idea, because Johnson's law department has spent 4 years blocking the Inspector General from finishing these investigations. The Department of Aviation is under the mayor. Brandon Johnson's office hires these people who hire the people who deal with these supervisors. When your supervisors are drinking with their drunk employees, that is just not a rogue bartender problem. This is a management problem. It is a cultural problem, and that is a top-down problem. 7 fired, 4 disciplined, and this was only caught because the Inspector General, who Johnson has been fighting for years, refused to stop digging. But obviously, we're not done yet. There's still more to talk about in this situation. But first, I want to talk about the sponsor of this video, MyHeritage DNA. We spent every video on this channel demanding transparency from the people in power. So I figured, let me put myself under the microscope too. I took a DNA test and the results are in. And right now you can get my full MyHeritage bundle for just $19 with my code. I will break that down in just a second. Taking the test was simple. Cheek swab, 2 minutes, shipped it back. And a few weeks later, my results hit my inbox and here we are. So before I open this, let me just put this on record. I am from Brooklyn, New York. My mom is actually from Barbados. My father is African-American. But in terms of your roots or where you come from, I'm assuming Africa, probably West African. But in terms of the details, I have no idea. Let's see what the receipts say about me. And to 90%? 90%? Okay. Wow. 90%. There is no question that we're expecting West African, but 90%, that's not even close. That's pretty dominant. Danish. Wow. 1% Egyptian. One of the positive things about being in New York City is that I can actually go and find restaurants that serve Nigerian food. I never had it before, to be honest, but now I'm gonna check it out. And then there's this feature called Ancient Origins. It traces your DNA back to 10,000 years. So it's not just recent history, it's a deep ancient story behind your bloodline. I'm looking at my results right now and it's showing me 76% sub-Saharan African, going all the way back to the Bronze Age, plus connections to Anatolian farmers and European hunter-gatherers from over 6,000 years ago. And then DNA matches. This one is huge. This test connected me to relatives I didn't even know existed based on shared DNA. Real people tied to my bloodline that I had no idea were even out there. If you ever wondered who else is connected to you, this is how you find out. They also have 40 DNA trait reports. Personality, nutrition, fitness, whether you are a night owl or a morning person, all from the same swab, no extra tests. You start understanding why you are the way you are, and is backed by your actual genetics. And one really important thing I want to mention, MyHeritage has committed in their privacy policy to never sell or license your genetic data. With my code Hannibal, that is HANNIBAL, you get the full MyHeritage DNA bundle for $27. That's the DNA kit, free shipping, and a 30-day free trial. Ancient Origins, all of it. The link and the code will be in the description and the pinned comment. Check out this deal today. Now, let's get back into it.
Several more Chicago Police Department workers are being accused of fraudulently obtaining paycheck protection loans.
So in the quarterly report that we issued just last week, we found that 2 additional CPD members, in addition to those we reported on so far, obtained PPP loans by defrauding the government. They made false statements in order to obtain those loans. And those people don't get to be police officers anymore.
How big of an issue is this PPP loan fraud within the city of Chicago?
Well, a big one. At the beginning of this investigative effort, we identified about 1,000 loans that had been issued to people under our jurisdiction, city employees and officials. Now, certainly not all of those were fraudulent. Some of those were legitimate loans, but many of them have some indicia of fraud.
This is the part that should stop anyone in Chicago in their tracks right now. 1,000 PPP loans issued to Chicago city employees and officials, cops, firefighters, city council staff, Department of Aviation, streets, and sanitation. 1,000 loans. And the Inspector General is saying that many of them were basically fraud or semblance of fraud. The 10 she just reported on, those are just the ones that she closed, and she's still working through the pile, and she's leaving in a week. So let's walk through what these cops actually did. 9 current or former Chicago Police Department officers, these are not citizens, these are cops, people who carry badges and arrest other people for fraud. They went to the federal government during COVID and said, I own a small business, give me money. And the federal government gave them between $20,000 and $41,000 each. Many of these cops made up fake businesses. They made false statements. All of them pocketed money meant for struggling small business owners who were trying to survive a pandemic. This is federal fraud committed by sworn police officers while they were on Brandon Johnson's payroll. The Inspector General said you don't get to both defraud the government and then work for the government. And the Chicago Police Department has agreed to fire them. Cool. But who caught them? It wasn't Brandon Johnson. It wasn't the internal affairs of the Chicago Police Department. It was an Inspector General that Johnson's law department have been actively blocking. 990 loans are still sitting in the pile. The watchdog is walking out the door in 7 days, and Johnson gets to pick her replacement. You already see the setup.
But Mayor Brandon Johnson's office has said it was a staffer under the Lightfoot administration. Help us understand what happened here.
I won't, as you say, comment on or confirm the identity of the subject of OIG's investigation, but the facts as we found them in this investigation were that a now former senior employee in the mayor's office used their city position, the authority of their city position, to arrange a job for their child with a city contractor, and then worked to facilitate an expansion of the contractor's work for the city, and tried to arrange almost $10 million in payments to the contractor, to which the contractor was not entitled.
Almost $10 million. This is the cleanest example of how Chicago machine actually works. Step 1, a senior employee in the mayor's office, not a janitor, not a parking enforcement officer, a senior employee in the mayor's office. Step 2, the senior employee uses their city position, their authority, their connections, their title to get their child a job with a city contractor. That's already felony adjacent ethics violation, but we're just getting started. Step 3, now that child is on the payroll of a company doing business for the city. And guess what mommy and daddy does next? Go back to the office and try to expand that contractor's work. Try to steer them to more city business. Step 4, tries to arrange $9.6 million in payments to the same contractor that was writing paychecks to their own child. The money the contractor was not entitled to. This is what we call a kickback. This is public corruption 101, a quid pro quo. You hire my kid, I steer you to a $10 million payday. Check out how Brandon Johnson approached this. So instead of saying we're launching a full investigation, instead of saying, we're going to cooperate with the IG, Johnson ran to the reporters and said, That staffer was from a prior administration. He tried to throw it on Lightfoot.
I believe we have seen a pattern from the Johnson administration and particularly the law department in blocking OIG's access to the information we need to do our work.
How do you react to that?
It's not true.
Can you expound on that?
I don't have to, quite frankly. I mean, listen, I'm committed to having an open process. There's nothing about my administration that has been surreptitious in any form.
But the kickback attempt was being investigated under his administration. His law department blocked the OIG access the whole time. And when the Inspector General was asked if the contractor got paid or whether this was referred to prosecution, she refused to answer. Something is still active, and Brandon Johnson is the one sitting on the answer. 3 massive scandals, 1 final report with 1 real message. You have 14 city workers drunk at the airport. You have 9 Chicago cops committing federal fraud, a senior mayor's office staffer trying to steer $10 million to a contractor that hired a kid. This is Brandon Johnson's Chicago. And the only reason we even know about any of this because the outgoing Inspector General refused to be bullied into silence by the law department on the way out the door. She's gone April 24th. Johnson gets to pick the next watchdog. And if you think the pattern of obstruction stops when the new IG walks in, you haven't been paying attention to how this administration is operating. We're going to stay on this story. The interim IG announcement, those PPP loans are still under review, the 990 of them, and whether that $9.6 million got paid out. And also see if any of this is going to be referred to federal prosecutors. If you made it this far and you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Appreciate all of your support. Thank you to MyHeritage for sponsoring this video. Take advantage of the MyHeritage bundle for just $19 using my code Hannibal. My link and code will be in the description and the pinned comment. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.